Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me today is Ian Cameron. Ian, how are you doing over there?
That's good. And Venezuelan Day, we wish everybody happy holiday with that if you're celebrating. But yeah, Tuesday card, which means we got a lot of games. So excited to break them all down.
Yes, happy Venezuelan Independence Day to the very few Venezuelan that watch this show and gamble. So we appreciate all those that do. So shout out to all of you guys. Yes, and like you said, it's a big card. Big card today. Only one game, or I guess one matchup that eluded us this morning. Matchup, which I believe is 1-1 still, correct, Ian?
No, it's 4-1 now for Seattle in the top of the
Wow.
fourth. So
Oh,
not a great
beautiful.
afternoon so far for Mike Clevenger, who actually had pitched well the last couple, but so far not today.
Well, beautiful, because I have Seattle Mariners first five money line minus 105. So that warms the heart there. I saw it a 1-1, and that makes me feel better. So good, thank you. So that's one of my plays I've had out there. Obviously, I've got the Pirates as well, and we'll talk about them later. But it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun show, and we'll get right into it, Ian. We'll get right into it because it's a big landmark. 10 more days to 100. Say hey 90 officially underway. Say Hey Plays 90 officially underway. And we're starting off with Sandy Alcantara and the Marlins versus the Angels here of Noah Syndergaard. This line is shot towards Miami and Alcantara. Makes a whole lot of sense for me why it would go that way. Sandy has been fantastic. Top three NL Cy Young guy for sure this year. We'll see if he ends up going and winning it. I hope he does. That would be awesome. Last time out for Sandy, complete game against the Cardinals, 9 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 Ks, 2 walks. I love my favorite part about Sandy this year is how he just takes the games under his control. Really, maybe it's more Don Mattingly, but he'll pitch all 9 innings if you need him to, just to get that bullpen a rest, or in reality to keep them away from fucking up the game. So I will pass on this game. Truthfully, it'd be Marlins or pass here. It'll be interesting to see how Noah Syndergaard does on the road because we've got those documented struggles, but a pass game with the lean to the Marlins. And shout out to Ron Crawford, who I believe his spreadsheet play of the day with Marlins today.
Yeah, I like the Marlins here. I took them earlier at a better, as
Yeah.
usual with some of these games, a better price than what's out there right now. First five and full game split. The full game is up to minus 155, minus 150 in some spots. So it's climbed significantly. I think if you're going to take the Marlins now, take them minus a half. You'll get it close to minus 110 or 15. I think I would still recommend that. I got the money line first five, so that if it's tied after the first five, you'll push instead of lose. That's the difference, obviously. But I would still go ahead with Marlins first five minus a half, even if you didn't get the best of the number earlier. I mean, he's just been absolutely terrific. Other than one really bad start recently that he had, I think, a couple of starts ago. Sandy's been excellent. And again, he bounced back after kind of a rougher start for him by his standards against the Mets, and he came back and he had a complete game 2 earned run performance against the Cardinals. He's never faced the Angels, so that should be an advantage to him. I don't really know what we're going to get from Noah Syndergaard. He's been, he had a couple of starts there where it looked like things were turning around for him, and he's kind of, been average, I guess, the last couple starts. And I certainly don't like his ERA on the road, which is at 6.53. And I don't like the Angels team probably around him either, which again has got a pretty disappointing season, all things considered. And they got swept over the weekend by the Astros and scored just 4 runs in those 3 games. So pretty straightforward. Sandy, we've been backing him all year. We're going to do it again tonight. If you haven't bet it yet, I say take Miami minus a half, minus 110 first 5.
Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not going to make it official. For what reason, I do not know. Truthfully, I probably should, but I'm going to pass on this game. That would be my play as well. Sandy, it seems pretty straightforward. My last note here, against righties, the Los Angeles Angels are 28th this last 2.5 weeks now. That's from the 19th. But there's 28th, 75 weighted runs created plus, while the Miami Marlins are 14th, 101. So not truly good hitting squads, I guess I could say. But the Miami Marlins obviously hitting well, so team total also wouldn't hate that as well for Marlins as well. All right, so let's move on to this next game here, and I will say this: there are a few games in this schedule that are going to be affected with rain, and truly, I've stayed off entirely. Like don't want to even consider moving on these games due to the rain factor and all that stuff. We'll start with the Mets Reds game, which I think is hilarious. If you saw on Twitter, I retweeted it. Eddie Escobar, I don't even know what he did. He went out there and kind of did his weatherman thing, gave everyone a weather report to see how it was going, and it was pouring. It was absolutely pouring. And truthfully, I'm pretty surprised to see him, or well, I should say not him. I should say pretty surprised to see Max Scherzer still listed as the starter, because truthfully, I would expect them to be like, you know what, maybe we'll pass on this game here. We'll go on the next day with better weather and just try to avoid any like slippage, injury, whatever that might be. So I'm kind of surprised Max Scherzer is still listed. So it'll be interesting to see if he does in fact go. The same thing could be said about Nick Lodolo too, who's also coming off the IL back injury. So we'll see how that goes as well. But a pass game for me here because of the weather. Ultimately, just raining. So no thanks here.
Yeah, I was definitely looking toward over the total in this game had the weather not been a concern, but rain delays and potential any kind of delay due to rain is where overs go to die, essentially. Mm-hmm. And you see this over and over again, whether you get a rain delay at the beginning of the game and the game starts an hour or 2 or 3 later, they're just rushing to get the game done. And you see poor at bats, you see lack of patience at the plate, and it just, it's a quick, 2-hour game, and it's like 2-1 or 3-1. So I don't like that's probably going to keep me off the over. And you could also get a situation where actually the game starts, and kind of like St. Louis and Atlanta last night, the game starts, you get a few runs early, then all of a sudden you get a 2-hour, 3-hour rain delay, and actually make the decision to finish the game in the late night hours, and then boom, the runs disappear. And St. Louis, Atlanta stayed under last night, even though it didn't look like that was going to be the case before the delay. So as soon as I see rain delay or a potential for a rain delay, that really makes me back off looking at an over in a particular game. And that's what's happened here. So lean over, but I'm not going to back it.
Yeah, only play for me would be a Reds team total over 3.5, honestly. Only thing I would really consider. Mad Max.
Just briefly, too, Jose, why I like the over is that, Scherzer is prone to home runs still, and that's always a problem in warm weather in Cincinnati. And off the IL, I don't really love players in that situation. And Lodolo, first of all, he's also off the IL, and second of all, his numbers aren't very good. So that might be trouble against the Mets. That's why I was looking at over, but the potential for rain is going to take me off the game entirely.
Nope, you said it well there. I agree with both angles there. Mad Max, I could look at a Reds team total, and the same thing for Lodolo. You see this full game over as well. So I agree with you there. Let's move on to the next game. A game that's not affected by as much weather, it seems. Pittsburgh Pirates, New York Yankees here. Jameson Taillon coming back to PNC Park and facing his Pirates. And Jose Quintana trying out. Like I said, I think I call these tryout starts for when he's facing a good team or when a pitcher I think is going to be traded at the deadline gets a chance to face a good squad to see if teams are actually interested. I'd say this is a tryout start for Quintana here. Is he going to get moved? Truthfully, before the season, I would be like, no, he sucks. Why would anyone want him? But he's been capable. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks, 2 walks at the Nationals last time out for Quintana. And versus the Cubs, before that, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk there. You guys know where I went with this game. I went Pirates team total over 3.5 at plus 105. Actually, I don't do this very often, or I haven't done this very often recently, but I actually bet this overnight as well. I took Pirates team total over 3, and it's like plus 105 or plus 110 or something like that. I don't remember exactly now, but I'm not making that official. I'm making the 3.5 official at plus 105 because you can get that now. I was pretty surprised to see a 3 there. And like you guys know, if it's a 3.5, I will probably be betting the Pirates every single time. 4.5 is when I get a little dicier, but I usually still move on it. But Pirates here, it'll be interesting to see. My last note, or I guess my 2 last notes: Pirates against righties in this last 2.5 weeks, 9th, 110 weighted runs created plus, while the Yankees against lefties 3rd, 145 weighted runs created plus. So I can see another over here as well. But we know that's where I'm going. Team total for me.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that the Yankees suddenly are trending under. It's kind of funny to see that. We don't usually expect that, but it's mostly because their lineup has had these games where, they have been shut down. Garcia did it. I'm shocked Tristan McKenzie did it. But then again, that was a pretty weak lineup. If you remember, Judge didn't start in that game. They had a little bit of a weakened lineup against that they rolled out there against Cleveland in that final game. You'd expect everybody to be in there tonight for this opener against the Pirates. LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Torre. I mean, they're loaded for bear. I mean, that's the A lineup tonight for the New York Yankees, as I would expect off the loss against Cleveland. I like, in theory, the Yankees off a loss, and especially a loss where they get shut out. I expect the offense to click tonight. I know Quintana's motivated to pitch well, and he's had a good season, but you start to look at some of the lineups that he's faced this year. I mean, Detroit a couple of times. Weak hitting San Diego that's been riddled with injuries. A couple of, they had the San Francisco lately, the Cubs who've been inconsistent and up and down. The lineups, the good lineups that he's faced, Atlanta, he got crushed a little bit in that game, Jose Quintana. He did actually pitch well against the Dodgers, but, that Dodgers were in a cold spell, I remember, when he faced them. So this is going to be as tough a matchup as it's been all year for Quintana. As you mentioned, the Yankees third against lefties. And on the flip side, I don't like the trajectory of Jameson Taillon's game right now. Now, the one thing is he wants to beat his former team, I'm sure. Going back to Pittsburgh here, that's certainly going to incentivize him. But I don't like the negative trending form of Taillon in the last couple of starts. He's given up 9 runs in his last 10.2 innings against Oakland and Houston. So that's not very good. That's concerning here for Taillon going into this start. So I played it over 8.5 earlier today. Most of those 8.5s are gone, but there are still 9s. I mean, 8.5 to 9 is a big difference. So many games finish 5-4. It feels like so. But as long as it doesn't jump higher than that to 9.5, I'd probably stay off. But with 9 still the prevailing number, I'd still go toward the over here.
No, I agree with you. I'm expecting runs. I'm hoping runs. Every time the Pirates play, I'm either hoping for 2 results. Pirates win with a bunch of runs, or the Pirates get shit pumped, blown out 10-0 into the 9th inning. They go into their bullpen or whatever, the position players. They throw the position player, and we get a couple runs there. That is what I ask for every time when I get these Pirates games. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun for sure. Another game where it's unfortunately seems like a rain out here, but in Baltimore, Voth versus Howard. I've really got nothing on this one because, like I said, rain. May it go away. Voth, Howard here. Bobana, do you have anything on this one real quick?
Yeah, kind of the same here. There's a potential for rain. I don't. Last I checked, there was not as much of a chance for rain earlier, but maybe things have gotten worse with the forecast. And again, when you're checking these forecasts, make sure you're checking the hourly forecast. Don't just look at the evening forecast in these cities and in these stadiums. You want to be looking hourly because then you're going to have a much greater accurate indication of when exactly the rain is going to hit. And when it comes to Baltimore here tonight, it looks like there's going to be some rain apparently around 6:30, but I'm seeing cloudy, believe it or not. Cloudy, mostly cloudy. I think they might get off. They might get this game in. It doesn't look like there's going to be too much rain. Cloudy with just 15% chance of rain at opening pitch. So that could be good news. This is another over for me if it is going to get played. Spencer Howard's just an auto over bet pitcher for me. I mean, 12 ERA this year in relief starts. Absolutely terrible. And look, he's been off. As you look at his numbers the last 4 years, I don't think his ERA has been lower than 5 in a single season. Spencer Howard for Texas. So absolutely want no part of him. Voth's been serviceable. He's been capable here in this opener role that he's been in the last few starts. But, you're going to see a lot of relievers for Baltimore. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. And you saw both of these bullpens get worked yesterday. Dean Kramer finally had the blow up and the implosion that we all thought would eventually happen yesterday, 4.2 innings, and he got crushed in that 1 inning. Dane Dunning didn't fare all that much better, and the bullpen had to work a lot of innings. Baltimore hasn't had a day off since mid last week. Same thing for Texas, and Texas starters haven't been pitching very deep into games. Otto only gave them 4. Dunning only gave them 5. Gray only gave them 5. So you'll see a lot of bullpen relief, and I don't know if that's a good thing. So I like runs to be scored here. I would actually take Baltimore as well. I am going to trust Baltimore a little bit more. I mean, I find now Texas favored on the road here, Baltimore is a capable home team, 19-17, winning home record at Camden Yards this year. I still think, even though I'm not a big Voth guy, he's been serviceable in this opener role, and I absolutely just there's nothing at all to like about Spencer Howard. So to me, now that the favorite is flipped in this game, I think it's flipped incorrectly. I would look at Baltimore here and the over.
Interesting. There we go. I like your looks there. I mean, yeah, just first instinct, I'd back the AL East team, truthfully. It's just the AL East better division, and I think top to bottom they are, and I'd just take them over the Orioles or the Rangers, truthfully. But yeah, I didn't have anything really on this game. My only note would be Rangers against righties this last 2 weeks are 118 weighted runs created plus. Orioles are 24th, 89 weighted runs created plus. But I pass on this game. Will be fun to see. And yeah, I'm using RotoWire to see what games are likely to be rained out, whatever. RotoWire obviously is not the end all be all. So, Weatherman Bobano, keep us updated because we need you here on this next game.
Well, I use weather.com, and I can guarantee you weather.com or RotoWire, who's more accurate with hourly forecasts. I'll take weather.com. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, what does weather.com say about Philadelphia? Because this seems like another rainout spot. So I'd love to hear this one because Christopher Sanchez versus Paulo Espino it's not getting the blood flowing, Ian. It's not getting the blood flowing. It's not getting the blood pumping. And it's leading me to just pass on this game entirely because, like I said, rain and potentially in the forecast. Two pitchers I don't really like. The only thing I consider is a team total for the Phillies, but nothing here. Nothing for me.
I like Washington here. I think we have a live underdog. I like Espino and the way he's been pitching a little bit here. And now, look, Washington got swept away by Miami. A horrible series for them over the weekend, including yesterday. They had chances and chances, and they lost in extra innings 3-2. So it's been a rough go. Washington's not a good baseball team, no question about that. But, I mean, you look at this situation here. Espino coming into this start here, 2.80 ERA. Overall, that's his numbers. I mean, they're pretty good. And on the road, he's actually been at his best, 2.21 road ERA for him coming into this game here. Now, he's only had the one road start in Texas, but that was best start of the year. 1 run, 6 hits, 5.1 innings. He's been serviceable for the Nats. They won that game. He struggled a little bit in D.C. at Nationals Park, but he's been pretty good on the road. Christopher Sanchez is a guy that's going to be making a spot start here for the Phillies. His numbers out of the pen this year aren't anything to write home about. You look at his recent appearances. He hasn't pitched since June 11th for this Phillies team. And overall, when you look at it, 4.60 ERA in a relief role this year. I've been disappointed that Washington hasn't hit lefties like they have in years past. They really haven't. That would be the grave concern for me here is, are we going to get the Nationals to be able to give enough run support here in this game to Espino? But I'm going to trust that they can scratch out a win like they did when he was on the mound in Texas with his one road start, which they eked out by a score of 2-1, hoping for something similar. So I would look toward Washington here, first 5 full game. I do think this is a live underdog here at getting a nice plus 140 to plus 150. I might put a greater percentage of that bet on the first 5 just because of the state of that bullpen for the Nationals, which isn't very good. I'd actually lean under a little bit as well here. 9.5 seems pretty tall for Washington struggles offensively right now, and Philadelphia, I think, could actually be held in check tonight by Espino.
No, I like the underlook there. I think you hit the nail on the head there. If you think the Nationals are going to perform well, I think this will be a lower scoring game. No Juan Soto. I almost forgot Juan Soto's name. That would have been a little rough. But no Juan Soto today. Confirmed lineup according to RotoWire out, not including him. So that is always a big blow. But 11 mile-an-hour winds blowing out, so that'll be interesting. I don't know.
By the way, thunderstorms apparently in the next 2 hours, so there could be a slight delay to the game, but apparently those thunderstorm cells are moving out of the Philadelphia area by 8 p.m. Eastern, so it looks like the rest of the night after that's going to be clear and dry. So, or not clear, but dry. It won't be raining. So there might be a delay at the beginning, and then by 8 p.m., 8:30, they'll get the game going. So I'd expect this game to get played.
And that's why you're our weatherman here.
I feel like I should have the weather map behind me there and have my little clicker here. All right, here.
I'd love it. That'd be electric
out here. Yeah.
I would love
right
your
here.
Background. Your background could just be a green screen. We'll make it all happen.
Yep.
And your clicker will be, or your little pointer will be the Hamilton Tiger Cat back there.
That's right.
You know, I think it'll be great. Again, I am surprised that it's still there. I will admit, I am surprised it's still there. I thought by now it would have been whoosh, out the window after last week, after we had our conversation about it. I thought that might have been a breaking point, but I'm glad he's still there. Glad he's still
Yep.
there. So, next game on our slate here, and by the way, one more out to polish off our Mariners' first five winner for us there. So, shout out to Logan Gilbert, my guy. We've got Rays, Red Sox here. And I've been kind of talking about the Rays recently, and I think the Rays are kind of a step below all the other teams in the AL East. And by all the other teams, I mean Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles, or not Orioles. I'm saying all the other teams besides the Blue Jays. But yeah, I think they're just a little bit of a step behind, it seems like. And I think that the Red Sox are just flat the better team. And I would just rather bet the better team. I did write down Red Sox team total over 4.5 there with a question mark. Jeffrey Springs, lefty here, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 9 Ks, no walks against the Pirates last time out. The Red Sox are second against lefties in the last 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. The 161 weighted runs created plus. I would lean towards the Red Sox here, but the line and the money has gone towards the Rays. Is our minus 125 earlier today. Now it's a minus 122. So slight movement, not that much. Something just keep an eye out. I'm back. I would back Pavetta here. I haven't moved on it officially yet. But like I said, Red Sox team total for me.
Yeah, I lean Boston here a little too, but I got to admit, Springs has been really good for Tampa. Boston has hit lefties all right, but no, Springs has been excellent, especially on the road. 2.76 ERA for him on the road. They're 4-1 in his road start. It's just hard for me to, as an underdog, to bet against a pitcher where the team is 8-2 in his starts, overall, and 4-1 on the road with Springs on the mound. That's tough to go against, especially when they're getting, plus money like they are here. But there's no way I'm stepping in front of my guy, my fellow Canadian, who hopefully celebrated Canada Day like the rest of us last week.
Canadian?
He does. He was in Toronto, wasn't he? No, that was the series before. Tampa was in here in Toronto on the weekend. Boston was the series before that. They actually got into a bit of a fracas there almost with the Jays in that series.
Yeah, no, I learned a lot about Vladdy that day. I learned a lot about Vladdy. I was very angry with Vladdy, and I do not like him as much anymore. I will admit that.
Yeah, he's protecting his players. I mean, he loves his teammates. I mean, you going to hate him for that? I don't know. But
I will. I gladly will, Ian. I gladly will for being a little dramatic.
Yeah,
I gladly will.
But
no, I'm glad you guys. I'm glad you guys have a value. You and Jimmy were both not on the Nick Pivetta train last year. I was on it. I was beeping the horn, sounding the alarms, and now I'm glad that you guys are back in the Canadian.
Well, it's taken a while. He had to earn everybody's trust again. This guy wasn't good enough to stick with Philadelphia when they desperately needed starting pitching just a few years ago. He was that bad. It was at the point where Girardi just couldn't put him in the rotation anymore. It was that bad for him as a member of the Phillies. And now he's come to Boston. And look, he wasn't really great at the beginning with the Red Sox either. And now all of a sudden he's pitched absolutely phenomenal. And you look at his last 5 starts. Nick Pivetta here at Fenway Park. And we know Fenway Park can be a difficult place to pitch. There's no question about that. It's binary code for Nick Pivetta in the last 5 home starts. 0-1, 0-1, 0-1. That's all he's given up here in these recent 5 home starts. He's been absolutely terrific. So the lean is Boston, but I like the way Springs is pitching. The bet that I really like, and I don't usually like unders, let alone love unders, but this is an under I love. I think it's actually one of the better unders on the card. Actually at 9.5 is what I got with the full game. It's down to 9. I'd still lean full game under 9, and certainly first 5 under. There is a 5 out there in a couple spots, 4.5 elsewhere. Shop around if you can get that 5, especially with a first 5 under in this game tonight. I think that's definitely a good way to go. I still don't trust this Rays lineup fully, with still some of the key bats that are out, like Brandon Lau among others, and they got shut out yesterday. And Boston's lineup has hit lefties well, but boy, Springs has done a good job of keeping everybody in check. Springs has not given up more than 3 runs in any start this year. So that 9.5 really looked high in terms of the opening total. So first 5 full game under for me.
I'm excited about this. By the way, JR has been hounding me about apparently a weed. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know who JR is. He's been hounding me now for a day and a half. It's been very interesting. I don't know, JR. I wish I could tell you who you are, but I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sorry, my man. I think I'm right there with you, though, Ian. I think I'm going to move. And by the way, Matt Randall, I think his team play of the day is on this team total, or not team total. I'm sorry. The first five under here, or no, five. I got the five. I don't know what he got, but I think it's going to be a first five under here. It's going to be fun for him. Well, you know what? Let's just, with JR, let's just take a timeout. Let's take a chill pill, JR. Let's just take a chill pill, relax, come back to the screen when we're feeling a little better.
He took his angry pills today, apparently. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I knew who JR was. I wish I knew. But shout out to JR, I guess. So I'm going to move on that first five under here. First five under five minus 125. It's juicy. It sucks. That price sucks at least. But I like it. Like you said, I think both these pitchers can pitch well. And I don't take unders very often anymore, Ian. So it feels like I'm going the same way as you with that one. Yep. So let's move on to this next game here. Cleveland, Detroit here. Not a game as I think it was not applicable said. This game is not my Viagra either. But I will say that Kyle Quantrill, he's started to do it for me. I was on the Quantrill train for a while, and then I jumped off, and I was like, I'm kind of off on him. And ever since then, he's kind of turned it on and figured it out. 8 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, no walks. Those 3 earned runs were 2 home runs there versus Minnesota, a good hitting squad that they're going to be facing a lot. So shout out to Cal for a good swat in a tight spot. And then versus the Red Sox to start before, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks, a home run. So I think he'd be I could easily see why a minus 170, minus 160 price would be laid with him here, especially against the Tigers, who can't hit righties all that well. 96 weighted runs created plus. But the Guardians' offense does not inspire confidence either. Drew Hutchinson, up and down, kind of got an interesting story. I guess he was a Blue Jay, I learned today from Jimmy. So ultimately had another pass game for me. Drew Hutchinson's just not a guy. Again, I'll say this about a lot of pitchers, but not a guy I'm running to the window to bet.
Yeah, Drew Hutchison is not someone I'm backing. No, it's just not going to be. He's just someone that throws junk balls. It's just someone that doesn't throw with much velocity. He's got to try to nibble on the edges, hit his location, hit the edges of the plate. That's the way he's got to be successful. And if he misses, he gets crushed. And that's the worry. And his home ERA is not good, 5.06. It's really he's starting here out of necessity. That's the only reason. I'm kind of in the camp of you with Quantrill. I think there's potential here for him. And really, if you go back to May 19th, he's given up 3 runs or less in every single start except one, and it was against the Dodgers where he got hit around. Other than that, he's been very good and a whole lot better. So I'm just not going to overcomplicate this. We know Cleveland's the better of these two teams by a wide margin. We know Quantrill is more trustworthy than Quantrill, or we know Quantrill's more trustworthy than Hutchison going into this start. So I like Cleveland first 5 minus a half, which you can get around minus 120. I think the team total over 4.5 for Cleveland's probably worth a look. So those two bets I think are good.
Okay, well there you go. I agree with you. It's betting the Tigers exceedingly difficult. Exceedingly difficult. Let's
move
on.
Beavis and Butthead, Cheshire Cat. You said nibble the edges. He said nibble the edges.
Yep. That's a good one. That's a good one. You should keep that one in your arsenal right there. Yeah. I remember watching Beavis and Butthead once or twice when I was younger too. It's classic. It's classic. Ian, I need your weatherman skills here again because I've got I've got rain in the forecast here with this Cardinals Braves spot. Palante, Anderson. Well, if you really covered up these names and switched these game logs, I would really tell you that Anderson's the guy that went out there against the Marlins last time and threw 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 Ks, 1 walk. And I'd be like, I guess his Ks are a little low, but that sounds like Anderson. No, it's actually Andre Palante doing that against the Marlins. And then before that, against the Cubs, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 Ks, 3 walks. I mean, it's successful days for Palante. I can't really talk shit. It's very interesting to see him go out there and work. The Cardinals are a pitching factory. They can create their pitchers like this out of thin air. So I shout out to him. Ian Anderson is one of the great mysteries of baseball capping and baseball in general, of why he's struggling. When is he going to get it together? And I don't want to bet and see when it's going to happen, especially because he's usually always a big favorite. Not mainly because of how he's pitching, just mainly because of the offense he's got behind him. Eighth against righties in the last 2.5 weeks, 116 weighted runs created plus, 19th for the Cardinals, 89 weighted runs created plus for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game goes. I watch all the Ian Anderson starts pretty closely just to see, because I really like Ian Anderson. I thought he was the next really big game pitcher, like that headliner guy for the Braves. It was going to be him and then Fried, but I don't know what Fried is going to, or I don't know what Anderson's going to be doing here. So pass game for me here as well.
Yeah, I think we can agree Fried's in that category, not this Ian Anderson guy, though. It's not been great for him. It's been a struggle. He's been really rocked here in Atlanta, multiple starts. That's concerning as well. 6.28 ERA for Anderson entering this game. I like over the total, to be quite honest here, 9.5. Last night's game could easily have gone over the total if not for the rain delay, which really dragged that game to a halt in terms of the runs. There was the delay, and then teams are just trying to get the game over with, and it ended up staying under 6-3 Atlanta. I would actually consider maybe Palante and the Cards here in a bounce back spot at an underdog price, but I don't know if I trust and like Palante enough to want to back him, because I do think Atlanta is going to hit him a little bit. I know he's pitched good the last couple against Miami and the Cubs, but I'll put Atlanta's lineup ahead of both of them. And I've still got to see him pitch well on the road. Let's not forget, struggled on the road against Boston, struggled on the road a little bit more, at least against the Cubs the first time around. Walks were an issue as well. So, I really do think I could see Atlanta doing some damage against him. And I certainly think St. Louis could get to Ian Anderson, who, again, I haven't liked his recent form. He's given up 11 runs in the last 6 innings of work, and he's given up 4+ 3 of his last 4 starts. So I'd go over 9.5.
By the way, and your newest impression is catching the hearts and minds of people. Eric Wellingham rewinding, needs to hear it. So hey, the Beavis and Butthead Ian is coming out here, so I like it. Shout out to DX Filer.
Shut up, fart knocker. I'm not as good at the Beavis one. The Butthead one's the one I'm really good. Settle down, Beavis. Oh.
I like it. So here we go. Shout out to you guys who are watching Bob.
They're back in form again, Beavis and Butthead. They're back in the news again. They've got their movie that came out on Paramount Plus streaming service, and the series is coming back to do 2 new seasons. So I'll be watching that. I watched that show a ton when I was growing up in the 90s. Great show.
That's why your impression is right on.
Comic creator.
Beautiful. See, that we're learning more about Bobano every day. It's like an onion. We're just peeling back the layers of Bobano. Peeling them back. I love it. Let's go to Milwaukee Cubs here, the other side of the Cardinals division here. Jason Alexander, man, what are we going to do with Jason Alexander? He gives up runs seemingly every time he's out there. But Kyle Hendricks? Do you really want to mess with Kyle Hendricks today? I really don't, especially with the Milwaukee Brewers hitting 133 weighted runs created plus against righties in the last 2.5 weeks. Is that boosted because of the Pirates? Probably, but I had to pump the brakes here before I make any moves. I don't think the Brewers are as hot offensively as it seems, and as the numbers seems at least. And I don't want to back Kyle Hendricks really on the road at all. Truthfully, I do distinctly remember this last time out. Kyle Hendricks going to Miller Park and getting absolutely bombed off of there. So my only play here would be a Brewers team total or Brewers side here, but it's just the side Jason Alexander is keeping me off the side, so it definitely would be team total for me probably.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot with the full game over 8.5, and think that the Cubs can do a little bit against Jason Alexander. I'll see you in hell, Costanza. Of course, George Costanza always comes into my mind when I see this guy's name on the marquee, Jason Alexander.
Oh, no, we got him.
Wait, there it is.
We've got him. We've got him here. Don't you worry about that.
That was the Play Now guy, by the way, that said that to George on that show. It was a hilarious episode. Fake being handicapped so you can get the perks. perks of being handicapped. Everybody waiting on him hand and foot, and treating to get the big office and all that. And then the boss found out, and he was pissed that George faked being handicapped. Like, I'll see you in hell, Costanza. It's just hilarious shit. But anyway, I like the over here in this game, 8.5. I mean, I think I think they can do a little bit of damage here against Jason Alexander here in this game. And Hendricks, to me, is still a mystery. He had that one gem against the Cardinals, but we know historically his road performances have not been great. He's been better at Wrigley. I've been riding Milwaukee overs now. They've cooled off a little bit. It's definitely putting it mildly. The last two games, they've not hit as well. But I think in this game, there's opportunities for them here. So again, over 8.5 is the way I would play it here. And I think there are still 8. Oh boy, it's moved up to 9 in a bunch of spots. But I'd still go that way over the total.
Yep, I don't hate it at all with both these pitchers. I mean, truthfully, this is one of those scenarios where I could easily see the Brewers getting it on their own. I just don't think Kyle Hendricks got the shit to pitch in Miller Park. No thanks. So let's move on to this next game here real quick. We've got Astros Royals, and we're moving through this card pretty quickly. There's been a lot of passes and a lot of weather spots for me, so I've had to just move them on, and thank God for Weatherman Ian, because without Weatherman Ian, we wouldn't have anything on those games. So shout out to you, Ian. But let's talk about Royals Astros here. And obviously, there's a lot of subplots in this game that are interesting. Zach Greinke coming back to play the Astros is interesting, but I think he gets crushed here today. I really do. I think that he's going to hang up balls, and they're just going to get walloped. The Astros know how he pitches. I know how he pitches, knows, sequencing, and all that stuff. Luis Garcia is one of my favorite pitchers to back and favorite pitchers to watch in all of baseball. Especially, that's tough to say for me, especially because the Astros do run the American League too. So that's truly as non-biased as it gets there from me. And hey, on top of that, Luis Garcia, Venezuelan pitcher, pitching on Venezuelan Independence Day. How are you going to fade him? So it'd be Astros team total for me here in some way for me. It would be a 3.5, 4.5. You want to pay some juice, I'll look it up and see what I can get. But that would be what I would move on here.
Is it crazy to think this might stay under? Because I lean that way with Greinke and Garcia. Greinke has looked like a different guy off the injury list. Now, here's the dilemma. Has he really figured it out off the injury, or was he just facing 2 weaker lineups at home? Could be the case as well. But 2 runs in 12 innings is pretty good for Zach Greinke, especially the way his season was before his recent IL stint. So you got to give him credit for that. But his road ERA is horrible. It's almost at 7, and he has not started on the road yet since returning from the IL. So is it Greinke's found it again, or is that bad road ERA going to continue, regardless of his better form here in these 2 starts at home? So that's the tricky part of this game and figuring it out for me. But I would lean still a little bit to the under, but I'm not playing it. I definitely will tell you right now, I'm not involved in this game. I think Garcia can neutralize Kansas City's bats. He's coming off it. He played a great start against the Yankees. Luis Garcia shut them down, neutralized them pretty well. So I would lean a little bit under, but it's kind of a worry that I see Greinke's road ERA be as bad as it is, almost at 7. And yeah, he's pitched great in 2 starts off the IL, but weaker lineups at home. He hasn't shown you he can go on the road, step up, and pitch well. And that's why I'm a little bit worried enough to stay off the under.
I kind of feel the same way just because the number was set up this low. Truthfully, I kind of expected it to be like a closer to an 8.5 or a 9. And it's funny, if you look at the team totals for the Astros here, the only really bettable one is a 5. So they're really not expecting the Royals to contribute much here. So I find this game to be fascinating just subplot wise, and the juice lines are what keeps me off of it. But if you're taking like Astros run line, even though they're the home team, I don't hate it at all. I really don't. So I like that game subplots, and it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Next game on our slate here, Ian, is an interesting one because I don't know why I guess it's just co-pitch, but I think the Twins should not be the underdogs or this, plus 110. And I'm moving on the Twins again. I took them first 5 yesterday. I got saved by the beauty that is Byron Buxton. hits a fifth inning home run to give us a 2-1 lead, and Bundy shuts it down from the rest of the way there. I think, Kopech, obviously a great pitcher in his own right, but I think Winder has been pretty good. He's been pretty good, and I think he's been a bet on pitcher. And every time he's been out there, I've wanted to bet on him. And truthfully, his last appearance was against Cleveland, coming back up from the minor leagues. And truthfully, I didn't know why he was in the minor leagues to begin with. But 6 innings, 4 hits, no one runs, 1K, 1 walk against the Guardians. And again, another interdivision team that they needed a big start against, and he went out and got it against them. So I took Minnesota first 5 money line at plus 105 here, and I did not hate. All right, I probably should do, especially since you're here, and I should do the Bobano split first 5 full game Minnesota Twins here. 12th against righties. They are the Minnesota Twins, 106 weighted runs created plus. The White Sox are 11th against righties, 107. So they're very evenly matched up teams. But, just the trajectories of how these teams are going, I like the Twins here today. So I'm not maybe not a popular play because Kopech is on the bump, and Kopech has been a bet on pitcher for a lot of people. But give me the Twins here, first 5 money line. Might add the full game since you're here, Bobano, but first 5 at least for me for right now.
It's hard to dispute the value isn't with Minnesota here. I mean, it's certainly the better team, better rack. I know the White Sox are playing like, hey, we got to show up here in this series and try to at least dig into this deficit, trailing Minnesota in the division, but it's just not a very good team right now. And there's still too many injuries, and they're still pricing the White Sox like this, World Series contender and division winner they were projected to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're like still minus 130, in some spots when Minnesota's clearly been the better team this year. And you can say all you want about Kopech this, Kopech that, in terms of his ability. And certainly we know he's got a live arm. They're 0-4 in his last 4 starts. White Sox are 0-4 in Kopech's last 4 starts. So, they haven't been winning with him on the mound. Who the hell cares how he's pitching if they're not winning? And they're not. They're not giving him run support. A couple of those starts, he didn't pitch great. So they're 0-4 in Kopech's last 4 starts coming into this one. His home ERA is great. I understand why this is around. Yeah, I can understand maybe it being even money. Minnesota, the slightest of road favorites, but White Sox minus 130, even with Kopech's great numbers at home. I don't buy it. And 0-4 in his last 4 starts are the White Sox. And, Josh Winder's been solid. He's taken the spot of Chris Archer, who was supposed to start this game, but the hip injury is going to keep him out through the All-Star break. So Winder's going to get this spot. Last 5 starts, about 2.88 ERA over the last 5 starts for Winder here for the Twins. And look, White Sox, that's a soul-crushing loss. They had an opportunity last night and just gets away from them because Tony La Russa still thinks Joe Kelly's a good reliever. And let's be honest, that cost them the ball game. Stupid managing. And maybe Tony La Russa is probably saying, why are they so harsh? Why are they saying fire Tony? Well, shit like that might be why. You put in a reliever that's been garbage all year in a game you desperately need, and a tone setter in a series that you have to try to gain ground on this team in the standings. And to lose that way, that's a bad omen. Yeah, Minnesota pass for me, 100%.
Well, beautiful. I'm going to move on officially. Minnesota first 5 full game money lines, plus 105, plus 110, respectively. Doing the Bobano split. But I will say this. The main concern here, and shout out to the Chameleon who's joining us. Weather here. Bobano, what is your radar saying? I know you've got your Doppler radar on top of your house, set, spinning around. We're going to have some issues here in Chicago today?
There are thunderstorms possible later in the night. It's just a question of when are they going to arrive. But it looks like early in the game we could be fine. They could get to 9 p.m. local time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and that's where we could run into trouble. So you actually could see, because that's when the precipitation percentages jump to 70, 80% by 9 p.m., 10 p.m. local time. So this could be a situation where they rush to get the 5 innings in, and it could be called after that. We'll see. It made official game. We'll see. But yeah, definitely later in the game, second half, back half of the game, it looks like rain could mar this one.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Maybe I should probably just keep it the first 5. We'll see. I'm on officially first 5. I will look at the full game here at a soon because I would rather not have to fucking deal with. Okay, here's a 4 hour delay. We're back at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, that's not what I want to deal with right now. So I'm on Minnesota first 5 and plus 105 for sure. I'll look at the full game and we'll decide it with the Doppler radar on top of your house, Ian. What's going on? Let's move on to this next game. Giants Cardinals. I always want to say Cardinals when I see the Arizona, but it's not the Arizona Cardinals. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks. Alex Wood versus Tyler Gilbert here. Absolutely nothing for me here, Ian. This game does nothing for me. Tyler Gilbert does nothing for me. He's a triple A guy. Well, he's more of a quadruple A pitcher. He's good enough to dominate triple A, but comes up to the majors, gets crushed. 5 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs, 2 Ks, 5 walks last time out for Gilbert in Triple A. And the start before that in Triple A, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, 1 walk. I was almost said Cardinals again. Diamondbacks against lefties at 25th. Giants against lefties at 22nd. The total is a little higher than anticipated. It's probably because it's in Arizona, and Arizona typically a hitter and offensive friendly place. But I had to move on from this game. Nothing that I really, really was interested in. And I will last little mention here, according to Ballpark Pal, 22% more likelihood for extra base hits today. But that seems to be every day in Arizona. So pass game for me.
Yeah, I lean under as well in the last game. Minnesota, by the way, and the White Sox, especially with the rain threatening there. I think 9 might be a little bit high for those two starters. So I could see under first 5 full game with Twins and White Sox. This one, I think the opposite. I think we'll get over the total. I like over 9 here. I don't trust either starter. Wood has not been good in recent games. There's no question. He's struggled. He's given up 13 runs in his last 11 innings. Not good at all for Alex Wood. Just really been roughed up. Road ERA, not great. Tyler Gilbert's not someone I have any sort of inkling for success. He's not someone I trust either. Now, neither of these lineups are great against lefties, but they've at least been a little bit better. And even if these starters give up 3-4 runs and they kind of neutralize things and they don't get completely crushed, you've got some really bad bullpens right now. Both of these teams, their last 10-game bullpen ERAs, both of them are trending in a very bad direction. Giants and the Diamondbacks. So now that the total's 9, I'm in with the over here.
Look at that. Okay, good. You're right. I guess they've been hitting better. We've talked about Giants against lefties all year, but I couldn't get there. Ron Lofton liking the over. Kyle Hanley, and by the way, going big on the Yankees. We know what he does. And by the way, Derek Pata in the chat, also a Venezuelan. So shout out to Derek. He'll probably know I'm wearing a Caracas FC jersey. Shout out to me, my only Venezuelan jersey on Venezuelan Independence Day. And by the way, Derek, what are you doing?
Caracas, caramba. Yeah, there you go.
I cannot roll my R's because I am incapable. But yes. Shout out to you, Derek. Let me know what you're doing for Venezuelan Independence Day. Probably nothing, but I would love to know. Let's see here. Let's talk about your Blue Jays here. Ian, I have word on the street is that people are finally starting to get a little worried about the Blue Jays, huh? There's been some worries. You guys were hit with an unfortunate accident with your first base coach's daughter. That whole
terrible. They have not looked. They have not looked mentally there. They have not looked like they're fully locked into baseball ever since this happened, and it's tragedy. It's awful. Yep.
And like Ian's or like Jimmy was saying earlier today, they're a team that runs on good vibes. They need those good vibes to kind of propel them and do their thing. Haven't been able to do it recently. Manoah got touched up yesterday. And now it's like, Kikuchi, save us. And now, like a month ago, we'd be like, oh, shit. If Kikuchi's trying to get us a win here on the road, we're not going to feel great about it. He pitched well last time out and a kind of back against the wall start. We said, last time it was like his last stand. Is Montoya going to keep him in the rotation if he has another bad start? He goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks. How many times do you see 8 Ks with Kikuchi? 1 walk, 1 home run there. So I guess I'm leaning towards the Blue Jays, but it's just really a stay off until the Blue Jays look to normal again. Adrian Martinez is not someone I want to bet on at any circumstance, really. And the A's offense, though it can scrap and get a run across, it seems like it's usually like 1 or 2 innings with like a blow up of like 3 runs, and then that's it. That's it for the rest of the game. So another pass game for me here, Ian.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I mean, I can't lay this price with the Jays, even against Oakland, because we saw what happened last night. They just don't look like their heads are fully in it right now. And for obvious reasons, it's an absolute tragedy what happened to Mark Budzinski, the first base coach for the Jays, and his daughter in a tubing accident on the water. Absolutely terrible. Losing your life at that age, no one should. Just a horrible tragedy, awful. And the team just, they haven't looked locked into it, playing baseball during this time. They should hit Martinez. Certainly Martinez, I don't trust. Could they get to him? For sure. Kikuchi, look, if Kikuchi's ever going to put 2 good starts in a row together after that shocking gem that he had against the Rays, when he couldn't get out of his own way, and then all of a sudden he throws 6 innings of 1-run ball against Tampa Bay. If he's ever going to follow it up and have another good start, it's here in this ballpark against this weak offense, the worst offense in baseball. So it's actually a good setup for Kikuchi to come in here and pitch well. So look, it was under last night. It actually could stay under tonight, believe it or not, this 8.5. It wouldn't shock me. I can't bet it because I still don't trust Kikuchi yet. I got to see another good one. But man, this is a putrid lineup. He, in theory, should be set up for success here. So I'd lean a little under, but I'm not getting involved.
The West Coast this today and the next couple of days, just shitty games. Oh my gosh. You look at this next game too, Ian. I got nothing on this game. You've got nothing on this game. I've got nothing on this next game with the Rockies Dodgers here. Ryan Peptop fills in for Mitch White, who just got relieved of his duties recently. I don't know. I didn't see an official word of why he got pulled from the start. Maybe it was an injury. Maybe it was COVID. But Ryan Peptop fills in. Herman Marquez, I say it every time he goes out. I say it every time him and Senzatella pitch. Every time they pitch, it's like a back-to-back fade combo. And I think they're both from Venezuela too, which makes me laugh as much as I love my Venezuelans. But he faced the Dodgers last time out. Marquez, 3 1/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs. That's not going to help him. I mean, why wouldn't the Dodgers dominate here again? And if we think Ryan Peptop's not going to pitch well, why are we not going over here again? I didn't want to bet on this game, though. It sucks. This game promotes no blood flow. I feel like a corpse, a dead zombie with no blood flow talking about this game. So pass and an all.
So Ryan Pepio is supposed to be one of the top prospects in the Dodgers organization right now. And so far we haven't seen it yet, consistently. I mean, he has had control issues. He's had command issues, but he's got good stuff. He does. And, is this out of necessity that he's starting tonight? Perhaps. But, I'm interested because when a guy has that first chance to crack the rotation and he's kind of, I don't want to say disappointing, but, less than great, maybe that second time around he's going to be better. We'll have to wait and see. But it does worry me that in each of his last 3 starts, he's had 25 walks combined. That's not good.
And let me add to that real quick, Ian, because his AAA start, I literally had to refresh the page. I was shook at this number. He went 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. Great, fantastic. 6 Ks, even better. 4 hit by pitches. 4 hit by pitches in the game. So I'm like, okay, all right, that's interesting. And then 3 walks in the previous start with 10 Ks. You are 100% accurate about the walks thing. It is 100% down to his control if he's going to make it in the league.
That is, and will he figure it out tonight against the Rockies? Rockies can be a little free swinging at times. We'll see. Maybe they swing at some of those pitches that are balls here tonight from Pepio. But I actually do lean under, believe it or not, because I think Pepio could pitch okay. Marquez is, I never would have imagined even considering an under with Marquez earlier in the year, and he got roughed up by the Dodgers at home, but his home ERA is 7, his road ERA is 4. He actually has pitched a lot better. And if you actually look at Marquez going back to his last 4 starts at Dodger Stadium, 3 of them have been gems. He's actually pitched extremely well here in the past. Herman Marquez, 3 really good starts out of his last 4 that he's been here at Dodger Stadium. And, it's not like we saw a wild, high-scoring affair last night. It's not like the Rockies are as good a lineup on the road. We know they're not. We know they always struggle to score on the road compared to Coors Field. And on the flip side, we're still seeing the Dodgers trend under. They have these games where they can get shut down a little bit, especially now with the total. I'm seeing some nines. This total does
Wow.
feel a little bit high.
Well, Johnny Gonzalez asking about the weather. Ian, you can pull up the weather here because I love that you are a weather guy. But I'll mention German Marquez, like you mentioned, the last couple of starts, career in Dodger Stadium, 2-1 with a 2.09 ERA.
Yes.
Wow, just
Yep.
absolutely dominant. That is a shocking stat right there. Did not expect that.
Gorgeous night at Dodger Stadium. Gorgeous, sunny, clear, very little wind. Typical Dodger Stadium.
Beautiful. So yeah, I like that first 500 there. I like that first 500 a lot. I've been calling him Pep Dot every time I see him. I just read it as I look at it. But it's Pepio. I like a little Peppy here, and I might call him just Peppy from now
Again, the
on.
walks. If he's walking like 6 or 7 guys, this game ain't going to stay under. But you got to hope that he's going to work on that. Maybe Colorado's going to swing at some because he does have good stuff, and his stuff's so good that even if he's wild a little bit, Rockies could still swing and miss at it. So that's the hope. And again, Marquez, usually not a betting on pitcher or someone I trust, but he has been at least better on the road compared to Coors Field this year, and those numbers don't lie at Dodger Stadium. Your ERA is just barely above 2 at Dodger Stadium lifetime. That's pretty good.
Ian, our man Derek, and you have to answer this because he's Venezuelan and Venezuelan Independence Day. You have to answer, obviously. How do you feel about a little Dodgers Yankee money line parlay here, 2-teamer? I mean, seems like a layup, right?
You got Quintana pitching to get traded to a contender, and you've got Pepio, and you got Marquez with those great numbers, I should say, at Dodger Stadium. So I don't hate it. They should win. They're favored. Obviously, they should win. But deep down inside, would I be shocked if the Rockies or Pirates, one of these teams, busts that parlay? I wouldn't.
Okay, interesting. So after talking all this out and Marquez's, or it's not home, but Dodgers home record or whatever ERA, I think the only plays for me would be Rockies first 5 and the first 5 under 5 here. I like both those plays a lot. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to make those official as well. I don't know if it's a large card for my standards, obviously, not for your standards.
Keep in mind, they should have probably cashed the first 5 last night, Colorado. Heartbreaking. All you needed was 3 more outs from Freeland in the bottom of the 5th. The Rockies were up 1-0. And Dodgers put up a 4 spot in that inning. So it almost got there last night.
All right. You know what? I think I'm going to move on that first 5 under. I'm going to move on that first 5 under. At the very least, it's minus 120 for me at a 5. Let's fucking get Pepio. Let's get Pepio, guys. Let's get a little Peppy today. I do like, I'm going to say this. I do like that angle. The guy comes up, struggles, gets sent back down, figures his shit out, whatever he does, and then comes back up and then pitches well. I like that angle. Excuse me. I like that angle a lot. It worked out for Winkowski for the Red Sox earlier this year. So I can see the same thing going on here. All right, Ian, what an interesting show. What a very interesting show. Congratulations to JR for being the first person that I've had to block on Say Hey Plays history. So shout out to you, JR. I hope
first
that
time, wow, you haven't had to block anyone till now. Wow, that's impressive. 90 shows without having to do that.
I try to let it string it along. I try not to block people, but I do not know what a JR is talking about. So I had to give him a block because he's living in his own world right now. And if I did wrong him in any way, he can easily DM me and we can figure it out like that. But I have 90 shows in, no blocks. Congratulations, JR, for being the first one. But it is fun. It is fun, as always, to get on the show, mix it up with the chat, whether there are trolls or not. I think it's always fun. I think, in my inner heart, Ian, I'm a troll. So, I get down in the filth and sometimes it's fun. It's fun. But I'm going to go through my plays here, Ian. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think I'm setting up for a rather large card that I did not really expect on Venezuelan Independence Day. So it's going to be fun here. Let's start off what's already happened. We've cashed Seattle first 5 money line minus 105. That was very easy. It was 4-1, I think, it ended up being. So shout out to Logan Gilbert for being my guy always. Pittsburgh team total over 3.5 at plus 105. Yankees might roll here today, and I think this first game will set the tone and see if I continue rolling with them in this series, because the Yankees do, like I said, they do provide a different kind of challenge with their bullpen. The last couple of games, like the Brewers, for example, they've got two elite bullpen arms, and the rest of them we can kind of work around. They only saw them once in that series. The Yankees, they've got a lot of bodies, so it'll be interesting there. But we're riding the 3.5. Tampa Bay, Boston, first five under 5 minus 125 there. Shout out to Matt Randall. I believe that's his tame play of the day. Shout out to you, Matty Ice. We've also got Minnesota first 5 money line. I'm not going to move on the full game money line just because I do want to move on other plays in different games, truthfully. So I'm not going to move on that one. I'm passing on the Cincinnati Reds team total over 3.5 at even money. Just rain factors there, keeping me off of it there. But I am going to officially move on Dodgers Rockies first 5 under 5 at minus 120, I believe it is. Yes, minus 120. First 5 under 5 at minus 120. And I'm going to lean Rockies first 5 money line plus 150. Not going to get there to the window. I'm hoping it's just going to be a low scoring, quiet affair over there in the Pirates Cove, I should say. Almost called it the actual name, but it's actually called the Pirates Cove for what the Pirates did to it last to them. So those are my plays. I'll recap them again at the very end of the show. But Ian, I would love to hear what you're on.
Yeah, the Mets Reds, by the way, they're going to not start until at least 7:40 Eastern. So they're already in a rain delay. It won't start in 5 minutes as it was expected. So there you go. Already rain impacting that, which is why I stayed off the over in that game. And it won't be an official play now that I know the rain has started there. So Washington first 5 full game around plus 145. Money line first 5 full game split. Probably a little more on the first 5, 75-25 split. Percentage-wise. St. Louis, Atlanta, over 9.5, minus 115. Cubs, Brewers, over 8.5, minus 120. Giants, Diamondbacks, over 9, minus 110. I'm going to add the Rockies, Dodgers, first 5 full game under split there. Texas, Baltimore, over 9, minus 120. Cleveland, minus a half, minus 115, first 5 innings. And smaller on the Guardians team total, over 4.5. Tampa Bay, Boston, under. I got 9.5. I'll still recommend the 9 and also under 5, minus 120, first 5 innings under with the Rays and Red Sox. Kansas City, Houston, I'll lean under, but I'll pass there. I'm going to jump on the Twins, first 5 full game split. A little bit of a smaller lean under, first 5 full game there as well. Toronto, Oakland, lean under, no bet though. First 5 full game. Angels, Marlins, I'm going to be on Miami. Well, I'm on Miami first 5 full game money line split. If you haven't bet it yet, I would say just take Miami minus a half, minus 110, first 5 innings. And last play, Yankees, Pirates, over 8.5, minus 125.
Beautiful. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun card. This really is. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 plays left, 5 technically on the day after Seattle. So not as big as I thought, but we're being picky. We're being picky. It's a good thing to be picky. And I'm excited about this whole card. Ian, I thank you for joining me as always on a Tuesday. Ian,
Happy Venezuelan Day, Heritage Day, Derek, in our chat, everybody else.
Thank you. See, look at that. Ian, man of the people there, that Ian Cameron. Ian, I've told all my Canadian, and I should have told Peter this too, but by the next time I see you, but man, I would like to see you have some Venezuelan food. I'd like to see, I've looked up, and actually I looked up in Parkdale to see where there was some Venezuelan food around Jimmy, and there actually was. I found some for him, so he's going to go. I looked it up for Pete as well. Bobano, I don't know where you live. I guess you live in Hamilton, so that makes sense because you're a Ticats guy.
That's right. So but there you go. That's where you start your search, yeah.
So there you go. Well, this is what we'll start doing now. But Ian, before we go, and I'm going to use this as a filler time while I look up Venezuelan food around you, where can the people find you?
Yeah, on Twitter at Bobano. We're enjoying our, less shows on a daily basis and a weekly basis here for the next month or two, which is nice. Need it, a little bit of a, recharge the batteries. So it's been nice to just have a couple shows a week. And I will be back on Friday, of course, with Jimmy the Bag, Betting with the Bag, the usual Friday appearance for me at 11 a.m. Eastern. So looking forward to that.
Man, how beautiful is Hamilton? How beautiful. Right by the water. You got a bayfront park, Ian. Ah, what about the Dundurn Castle,
Stay
Ian?
away from downtown. It's a nice looking city. It is, and in parts, yeah.
Well, Ian, let me tell
Although they've
you,
spruced up downtown, a lot of good restaurants, a lot of good shops now, and craft beer is just bumping in Hamilton. Great, great craft beer. Like 3 craft breweries in the same city.
well, Ian, let me tell you,
4,
you
4
might have to
actually.
go.
Merit, Collective Arts,
Ooh,
Fairweather,
really?
and
4.
Grain and Grit. Yeah, 4 craft beer breweries. Yeah.
Look at that, Ian. Well, I'll tell you, you might have to get on the QEW, go over to Burlington real quick. But I'm looking at a Yee Deli here. Looks pretty interesting on Dillon Road over there on Burlington, Ontario. You know, it might be a little interesting place for you. You get some
Oh, you got on
tequeños
that
in your life.
quickly. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh yeah, Ian. We're quick here. Let me tell you, there's a Peruvian place as well that popped up when I clicked Venezuelan food, and that obviously does not count. That does not count at all. So you hit that QEW, the Queen Elizabeth Way. Yep, Queen Elizabeth Way, and you go over to Burlington. You can get there. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see. Well, I see Cilantro Peruvian Cookery, right, in
Yeah, we're not.
Hamilton. But no,
Nah,
that's not the
nah,
same
nah.
thing.
The Yee Yee Deli apparently is where we're going. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And by the next time I see you on Tuesday, you'll have some Venezuelan experience, perhaps. That'll be my
yeah,
homework to you, Ian.
yeah. Exactly. See, the one that's definitely Venezuelan, Vaughan, Ontario, but that's like Toronto suburbs. So, yeah, I know there's gonna be a bunch of them in Toronto, but yeah, Hamilton, you got to search a little, dig a little deeper for Hamilton to have one.
Well, don't you worry. We found it. The Yee Yee Deli. It's gonna be great. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but you'll find out for me. And like I said, your homework, go get some Venezuelan food, get in your life. It's going to be great. It's going to be. Oh, and by the way, Puzzler saying Arepa Guys is in Hamilton, apparently. I don't know what that is, but I love that.
I'm seeing Vaughan, Ontario here, so that's not Hamilton.
Well, Puzzler, we'll figure it out, Ian.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out. You and your eating is going to be great. I cannot wait. Hopefully, you report back next Tuesday, and we'll see how it goes for you.
yes,
Appreciate everyone watching. All of you guys in the chat, I appreciate it. I got something stuck in my eye right now at the end of the show. We always love that. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here again tomorrow. We've got Seamus Ignoramus back on the show tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. Maybe we'll see some appearances from the old Omicron. Maybe well, who knows? Who knows what we'll see? But it'll be a fun show nonetheless. Ian, they can follow you at Bobano, of course. You're on Pub Porch Radio throughout the day or throughout the week, I should say. I'm glad you're getting a little bit chill period, some relaxation.
yep.
Maybe you get some sun. Who knows, Ian? Maybe you get some sun too.
That's what we're trying to do. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, let us know. Keep us updated how the Hamilton Sun is keeping you and treating you, Ian. Thanks everyone for watching. Like I've been saying, we'll see you guys back here tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, for another edition of Say Hey Plays.